Hello everyone. This is the topic regarding the transgenic animal, which is coming under the chapter biotechnology and its application. So let's see what is the definition for the transgenic animals. A transgenic animal is the one whose genome has been altered by the transfer of a gene or genes from an another species or a breed. So basically, animals that have had their DNA manipulated to possess and express an extra foreign gene are basically known as the transgenic animals. And you can have the different examples, that is transgenic rats, rabbit, pigs, sheep, cows, and fish have been produced through this methodology. Although over 95% of all the existing transgenic animals are mice. So let's see what is the significance of these transgenic animals. So it actually helps in normal physiology and development. So, in transgenic animals, a foreign gene is introduced due to which the growth factor is altered, and hence these animals facilitate the study of gene regulation and their effect on the everyday functions of the body. So, most of the transgenic animals which are under this section of you can say experimental study, they can be specifically designed to allow the study of how genes are regulated and how they affect the normal functions of the body and its development. And this study is basically the study of complex factors involved in growth, such as insulin like growth factor, by introducing genes from one species that alter the formation of this factor and studying the biological effects that result. And this information is obtained about the biological role of the factor in the body. So it's how the normal physiology and development can be studied through the help of such animals. And now the next important concept is about the study of the diseases. So transgenic animals, they have been used to study the aspects of tumor development, immune regulation, cardiovascular development, and atherosclerosis. And these studies have provided new insight into the genetic origin of these certain diseases and have improved our understanding of the pathological processes on the cellular level. So many transgenic animals have designed to increase our understanding of how genes contribute to the development of the disease, and these are specifically made to serve as the models for the human diseases, so that the investigation of the new treatments for the disease is made possible. And today transgenic models exist for many human diseases such as cancer, cystic fibrosis, rheumatoid arthritis, and Alzheimer's. They are being under consideration and under study. So this is all about the study of the diseases through the transgenic animals. Now the next important information is to know the knowledge regarding the biological products. So transgenic animals, they have developed and their genes are manipulated so that they produce certain biological products which are expensive to make. Example, the first transgenic cow, that was Rosie, to produce the milk which had human alpha lactoalbumin. And there are certain medicines which are required to treat certain human diseases that can control that or which are dependent on the biological product, but such products are often expensive to make. So transgenic animals that produce these biological products can be created by introduction of the portion of the DNA or the gene which codes for a particular product, such as the human protein, and that was alpha 1 antitrypsin, used for the treatment of the apensema. And similar products or attempts have been made for the treatment of the phenylketonuria, that is PKU, and for the cystic fibrosis. And in the year 1997, the first transgenic cow, which was already told you in the early section, that is Rosie, cow basically produced the human protein enriched milk, that is approximately 2.4 grams per liter, and the milk contained the human alpha lactobin and was nutritionally a more balanced product for the human babies than a natural cow milk. So this was the basic concept regarding the biological product formation through the transgenic animals. Let's see what are the transgenic animals and how they are being used. So transgenic animals are most commonly the mice. They have had the foreign gene deliberately inserted into their gene, and such animals are most commonly created by the microinjection of the DNA into the pronuclei of a fertilized egg, and which is subsequently implanted into the oviduct of a pseudo-pregnant surrogate mother. So what does alpha 1 antitrypsin do? So the treatment of apensema, that is being channelized by the alpha 1 antitrypsin deficiency, that is AAT deficiency, is an inherited condition that raises the risk for the lung and liver diseases. And alpha 1 antitrypsin is a protein that produces in the lungs, so liver makes it, and if the AAT protein are not in the right shape, they get stuck in the liver cell and cannot reach the lungs. So the example for the PKU treatment is the dubbed SNY and B1618 is a reprogrammed version of the widely used probiotic, and the organism is Escherichia coli Nischel. And in the rodent models of PKU, that is phenylketonuria, SYNB1618 taken orally after an injection of the PHE, which decreased the levels of the amino acid by 38% compared to the untreated animals. So this is how the PKU treatment is being performed through the transgenic animals, and how the gene therapy has used to treat the cystic fibrosis. So for this treatment, we are using a type of virus which is known as lentivirus to deliver a healthy copy of a gene which is known as CFTR, which actually causes a cystic fibrosis when it is carries a mutation, and the gene therapy will be given by the inhalation to the better target of the right. So let's see the fourth point, that is the vaccine safety and how these transgenic animals, they are being actually acting as a source. So transgenic mice, they are being developed for the use of this testing for the safety of the vaccine before they are being used on the human beings. So transgenic mice are being developed for the use and testing for the safety of the vaccines before they are being implemented on the human beings. And transgenic mice are being basically used to test the safety of the polio vaccines, and if successful and found to be reliable, they could replace the use of the use on monkeys to test, and safety of the batches of the vaccines is ensured through this. So next, you can say the practical implication is regarding the chemical safety testing, which is the development of the transgenic animals, which has already had a significant impact on biomedical research. So transgenic models which fit into the chemical safety assessment schemes consist of those used to screen for the toxicity, that is for the detection of carcinogens and mutagens, and those used to elucidate the mechanism of the toxicity. So this is also known as the toxicity or safety testing, and the procedure is same as that used in the testing of toxicity of the drugs. So transgenic animals, these are basically made that carry the genes which make them more sensitive to the toxic substances than the non-transgenic animals. So they are then exposed to the toxic substances and the effect is studied. So toxicity testing in such animals will allows us to obtain results in less time. So let's see what are the ethical issues in doing that. So what are the risks and ethical concerns for the biotechnology? So biotechnology is a constantly evolving field of science, and although it has many benefits, including lowering our environmental footprints and helping to treat the disease and illness, it does not come without its disadvantages. And what are those disadvantages? The four main concerns revolve around ethical safety, bioterrorism, and environmental issues. Let's see what is the Genetic Engineering Approval Committee. The Genetic Engineering Approval Committee, that is GEAC, permitted certain companies as well as the research institute for conducting the fields of trial for the 5GM, that is genetically modified crops, and the specificality of the GM crops is that they are formulated for bettering the and getting the protection against the insect. So the modification and uses of the living organism for public services such as food and medicine sources are basically created problems with the patent granted for the same processes, and there is growing public anger that that certain companies are being granted patents for the products and technology that make use of the generic you can say or genetic materials regarding plants and other biotechnological resources that have long been identified and developed and used by the farmers and indigenous people of the specific region of the country. So rice is an important food grain, and the presence of which goes back thousands years in the Asia's agricultural history. There are an estimated, you can say, 2 lakh varieties of the rice in India alone. So the diversity of rice in India is one of the richest in the world. Basmati rice is the distinct for its unique aroma and flavor, and 27 documented varieties of the basmati are grown in India. So there is a reference to the basmati in ancient text, folklore, and also in the poetry, as it has been grown for the centuries. And in 1997, an American company got patent rights on basmati rice through the US Patent and Trademark Office. This allowed the company to sell a new variety of basmati in US and abroad. And this new variety of basmati had actually been derived from Indian farmers' varieties. So Indian basmati was crossed with the semi-dwarf varieties and claimed as an invention for a novelty. So the patent extends to a functional equivalent, implying that other people selling basmati rice could be restricted by the patent. So several attempts have been made to the patent users products and processes based on the Indian traditional herbal medicines. Example, turmeric, neem. If we are not vigilant and we do not immediately counter these patent application, other countries and individual may encash our rich legacy, and we may not be able to do anything about it. So there is the need of biopiracy, and biopiracy is basically the term used to refer to the use of bioresources by the multinational companies and other organizations without proper authorization from the countries and people concerned, without the compensatory payment. So most of the industrialized nations are rich financially, but the poor in biodiversity and traditional knowledge. And in contrast, the developing and the underdeveloped world is rich in biodiversity and traditional knowledge related to bioresources. So traditional knowledge related to bioresources can be exploited to develop the modern applications, and can also be used to save time, effort, and expenditure during their commercialization. So the term biopiracy, actually it was coined by the Patch Money, and to describe the practice in which the indigenous knowledge of the nature originating with the indigenous people is used by other for the profit without any authorization or compensation to the indigenous people themselves. For example, when bio prospectors draw on the indigenous knowledge of the medical plants, which is later patented by the medical companies without recognizing the fact that the knowledge is not new or invented by the patenter, this deprives the indigenous community for their potential rights for the commercial product derived from the technology that they themselves had developed. And critics of this practice, such as the Greenpeace, claim these practices contribute to the inequality between the developing countries rich in biodiversity and the developed countries hosting biotech firms. So in 1990s, many large pharmaceutical companies and drug discovery companies responded to the charges for the biopiracy by ceasing work on the natural product, turning to the combinatorial chemistry to develop novel compounds. So the Indian Parliament has recently cleared the second amendment of the Indian Patents Bill that takes such issues into consideration, including patent terms, emergency provisions, and research and development initiative regarding these biotechnological developments. Thank you.